So I'm here in Battersea Park, London for a huge monster 3x10k session ahead of London Marathon in 3 weeks' time. Now in this video you'll see me take on the biggest session I have ever done. 3x10k with 1k float recovery. Oh, this man did all the work on the second rep. Now I've ran since about the age of 10 years old and I joined a club when I was age 14. So training, interval sessions, long runs, they've all become my normal training. They've all just become part of my life. I can't remember the last time I was actually nervous for a session, but this session I was nervous for.
Oh, yeah. 1 lap warm up. Oh, you can do that? Yeah.
I'm here with a friend, Hugo Fry. He's going to help pull me around. He's a much more experienced marathon runner than I, so I'm hoping to learn a lot from him and get a big marathon session banked, a little confidence booster ahead of the big day. So let's get it. I met Hugo through the internet, but he's a very accomplished runner. He's run 2:19 for the marathon. Training with someone like Hugo is absolutely invaluable for me. There's so much that I can learn, both things that he'll tell me and teach me, but also things that I'll just pick up from watching him train.
Mate, if this guy thinks he's in a 2:20 shape, he's grossly misunderstood. 3:15, so what you must have done.
I did 3:15 as well, but
you can't have. You are mad.
One key takeaway for me from this session was that Hugo didn't let things irritate him or overstimulate him. He was so cool, calm and collected when it came to the amount of people in Battersea Park. So after the first rep, I think Hugo could see that I was becoming quite overstimulated and a little bit stressed out by the amount of people getting in the way and having to weave around them. So he took the second rep for me and just said, tuck in behind me and just follow me, which is exactly what I did. Now our goal going into this session was to basically hit 3:17 per kilometre. Now this was already daunting to me because my marathon pace, or my goal marathon pace, is 3:19 per kilometre. So when Hugo suggested we go that little bit quicker, I was already getting in my own head. But for the first rep, we managed to run 3:16 per kilometre, and I was absolutely buzzing with this. But to be honest, my legs didn't feel fantastic. But it's weird how much just like 1 kilometre of easy jogging can kind of restore life in the legs. So going into the second rep, and especially having Hugo to tow me around and kind of guide me through the crowds, we managed to run 3:16 per kilometre again. And this time it felt so cruisy in comparison to the first time. Now going into the final rep, I had a little bit of toilet struggle in between on the float. I had to have a little bit of extra time on the recovery purely because I nearly paid homage to Paula Radcliffe, let's say. But I didn't let it ruin the session, and after I'd used the utilities, I managed to get back to the session and actually end up running the quickest rep of the three. I managed to come back with a 3:15 per kilometre, and the legs felt good. But one thing that this session showed me is that it doesn't matter how much of it you feel good for, the marathon can just still bite you on the arse, because up until the final 3 kilometres of that final rep, I felt okay and I felt like I had everything in control. People have been saying to me, oh Cole, you need to shoot for faster than 2:20, you need to aim higher. But sessions like that just show me how wrong it can go if you do not play it safe and if you don't play your cards right. And that's why I'm going to stick to my guns when it comes to the 2:20 goal. Not many people respect that 2:20 target and it's kind of thrown around. So for my first marathon, I want to get it right. I want to run a time that I'm absolutely chuffed with. And a sub 2:20 is exactly that. 2:19.59 is all I need and I'll be chuffed on this.
2:19.49.
Thank you very much.
And that's it.
Why I've been absolutely loving the marathon training is because the marathon is so complex. There's so many different exterior things going on that are in and out of your control. For example, fueling, weather, hydration, toilet stops, etc. But when it comes to the marathon, I'm so inexperienced. I've been running for a very long time. I've done lots of halves, 10 miles, 10Ks, etc. But I've never raced a marathon. I've covered the distance in training, but I've never laid everything on the line over 42.2 kilometres. Another thing I experimented with going into this session is I carb loaded like it was a race. And that could have potentially led to some stomach issues, but also it meant that my legs felt, I don't know, I felt like they had energy for longer. I didn't deteriorate as quickly. So just having that a little bit of extra fuel on board was a massive help. And it was also good to do a dress rehearsal in kind of my race day kit and also kind of my race day nutrition.
Alright guys.
My name's Cole Gibbons and I'm going to be making my marathon debut at this year's London Marathon on the 27th of April 2025. A huge thank you to Start Fitness and Adidas for supporting this journey so far, and a huge thank you to Connor Whelan for basically capturing the session and putting this together in a much better form than I could have done. So if you've been enjoying the journey so far, I would really appreciate clicking that subscribe button. We're nearly at 10,000 subscribers. The marathon is quickly approaching. Sub 220 is the goal. My name is Cole. I'll catch you in the next one.